So I
Hello
can't wait
guys
to see
and
how these
welcome
teams actually
to
play
the
on these
5
maps.
vs 5 Counter-Strike Global Offensive World Championship 2015 Asian Qualifier Group Stage 2, a match between China against Indonesia. Here you can see right now is still the warm-up game. Okay, so this is the best of 3. The first map as Indonesia pick, Cash, and the second map will be Inferno, and the tie-breaking map is Overpass. But unfortunately, Indonesia didn't manage to handle Captain Mo. The MVP from the China, in my opinion, is playing well in this game. By the way, I wasn't getting a good stream while recording this, so I'm sorry and be advised for not getting a good quality. You may found some clip is cut because of the stream stop a while. So I hope you enjoy this game, and I'll see you in the next video.
It is live, obviously we're on GoTV, so a couple of minutes behind the live action, but it won't be too long at all before we do get going in this best of 3 game. And as I'm sure you all know at home, there's a lot on the line for this one. It's so cool that eFrag are doing this kind of a tournament, a world championship, inviting as many countries as possible. I've been seeing like the tweets go out and all of the messages in the Skype chats and everything like that of the different nations that have been competing in this one. Like you mentioned Nepal earlier on, and loads of different random places. So it's really cool to see a grand tournament of this scale. And then we've got a lot more action coming up once these Asian qualifiers finish, I believe, as well. So there's still plenty of Counter-Strike action coming on. eFrag is certainly a busy company at the minute, which is definitely a good thing.
Yep, and indeed, guys, don't forget about the big LAN finals, too. If you happen to be in the area in Belgrade or around that area and you're able to get yourself out there, I believe it's going to be happening in early October. Be sure to go ahead over to the main website for the World Championships. That's going to be TW's plant. A little bit rushed, though, but they do actually manage to get full site control and a great smoke setup, too. He's going to push the Chinese roster off. Nobody else in sight at the moment. Captain Mo, now with the smoke fading, just up on top here in heaven. He's trying to see if he can pick off this shot, but he's getting heavily lit as well. Dropped down to 10 HP now, as Sis claims another one of the Chinese players. Sis as well jumping up. He's looking for Captain Mo. Can't find him, but they're holding the site just fine. They brought things down to a 4-on-2, and off of this, it looks like they shouldn't have too much trouble closing things out. Rose, so even going to pick off Captain Mo, and this will prompt the fallback attacker. Going to pick off 1, possibly 2 on his way out, but he's looking to get away with this now, as he'll try to save that armor. With 3 HP, we'll see if those final 2 players from Indonesia can chase him down. Not really going to look like it. He'll make it out of that with the armor, but beyond that, Indonesia picking up the pistol, and they're going to take the advantage here on our first half.
One thing that I really like there, again, we are seeing it more and more often now, is when one player, so Sis in that occasion, buys up the armor and then his teammate drops him a Tech 9. It is kind of in some ways like a broken strat. It's pretty overpowered. If you've got a player with armor and then they're also able to get themselves a Tech 9 in hand on that round. And look at the Chinese forcing up here. We've got 2 CZs, 2 5.7s and a scout in the hands of Captain Mo as well. So they're looking to bring this straight back in their favour. On the Indonesian side, 4 SMGs, 4 Mac 10s, I believe, as well, with Frost Misty, if I'm not mistaken, with the Galil in hand. Tagged up to 12 HP, there will be Rocio, if that's how you pronounce that name, and taking things slowly now on that anti-eco side, as you would expect. Don't really like it when teams run an anti-eco and they just go in full guns blazing.
And Frostmisty here, too, getting a very important part of the map controlled essentially for free. He's really snuck up on the players here from China, so he is going to get control of the highway for now. But a great boost over by the red box allows Attacker to pick up the first frag. Now Frostmisty comes into the play. He's hungry for blood, pushing over to the truck, but a great shot from Captain Mo. He is going to throw him down before he can do too much damage. Nonetheless, though, Indonesia, they get control of the site once again. The plant's going to come out. But now you've got that 2-on-3 situation, and Captain Mo is going to find another great shot, and he's going to be able to take down Rosso. And now brings it into a 2-on-2 situation now with Flex and Sis still sitting on the site. Good patience from them, but now we've got the guns being picked up here by the Chinese players too, so there's still that potential for a retake. Captain Mo, if you're going to find a shot here, but now Flex pushing out. He takes out 1, and Sis finds the last one to give Indonesia that 2-0 scoreline here. Making out of it with 2, though, not going to, and they will have to rebuy on quite a few of their players.
That was a hand to start things off in strong fashion on that questionably less favoured side. It is really good for Indonesia.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, when you get that even sign and when you expect to pick up that maybe source is not going to be a bad thing at all. But now we go right into our first gun round here. The pickups from China as well. A little bit light on the support grenades, as we can see. Only 3 smokes and 2 flashbangs total here. And Fancy just picking up that armor on the way out. So they are going to be a little light on their ability to hold things off. Thankfully, though, they've got 1 for each site, or at least... yeah, 1 for each side here, but that's still going to be very light, and that could hinder things by quite a bit. Meanwhile, Indonesia, fully loaded, ready to rock and roll, and they're getting ready to line themselves up for the default smokes that are right into that site now, and they're going to look to take it, as I just realized we still have the voice on.
Look at the flank. Just look at it coming in. They've really not noticed what's coming in from behind, and China's looking to punish them as Mo picks up 2 in very quick succession there, and that is a real big mistake by Indonesia. I've got to say, a tiny bit sloppy. When you're dedicating that much force over towards one bomb site, especially on a small map like Cash, you cannot make those mistakes, and again, they look like they should be punished for it. Frost Misty, the last one left alive, he will get picked up in quick fashion, and a great read by China. I think it gave so much information to their teammates. Indonesia simply didn't have a single player looking at the flank. I always like it if you're going for that A execute, if you just keep one player maybe backing towards T main, because then you can see if there's any aggressive pushes coming from both B Toxic and through mid as well towards T main, but they didn't do so. And that's their first round loss. So good start here from China now that they've got rifles.
This was a thing that we saw a lot with actually a lot of our Asian teams in the past few days too, where they unfortunately had trouble just having a stable flank position and making sure somebody was able to watch out for that. Plays like that happen so often. But Indonesia definitely was one of the more adaptive teams so far that we saw, so hopefully we can see them adjust for that. But getting right back into the action here, Captain Mo immediately picking off 2, combining that with a great nade stack that we had seen just a few seconds ago, going through the mid garage door there, is going to be able to completely decimate the Indonesian roster, and already now, just a couple seconds into this round, brings things down to just 2 players left for Indonesia. Sis is going to look to maybe claim 1 here in mid, and will succeed in doing so as he takes out Captain Mo finally, but Fancy is waiting for him just outside of these doors, inside of the vents. If Sis should choose to push forward and try to get through this angle, then it's probably going to meet a very early death, and that would kill any chance now for the Indonesians getting this round back. And already here too, DD finds 1, and there's Fancy picking off Sis as he does indeed try to find his way there outside the garage, but it doesn't pan out too well, and China now swing things back 2-3 as they break the Indonesian economy as well.
One thing that's really important, again, talking about economy here, is the Chinese economy and how they've not lost too many players in the last few rounds, 4 staying alive in that round and 4 in the round before, I do believe. So as soon as they've picked up these rifles, they've only had to rebuy 2 times, and we know how expensive that counter-terrorist economy can be. So for them to try and keep that rolling, keep as many guns alive as possible, is certainly a good start indeed. And we've got the Tech 9 upgraded pistol by coming in from Indonesia here. 3 players with armor, I'm assuming just to kind of even out that economy, make sure everybody's in the same situation. They're setting up for an execute. We're going to have Captain Mo on that quick rotate over towards short box there. Just looking at boost at the second, seeing what information he can find, but nothing will come his way as of yet. And obviously the Indonesians really hoping to try and get that bomb down, but they're definitely not being shy about giving their position away here.
Yeah. As we now see again here, a lot of response nades coming out from the Chinese, and they're already even going to pick up the first kill too. Attacker finds Rosso. Attacker as well finds a second. Zoking even picking off another one back over here by the forklift as he's going to be able to take down Flex, so that immediately should kill the plans here from Indonesia. They are still unfortunately going to be forced to make the play here at A because their bomb carrier went a little bit prematurely and had dropped the bomb, so that's down now. They even know that these last 2 are sitting inside of Squeaky S. There's going to be a little bit of a game here to open and close the door. Riddix is going to find 1. Frost Misty picks up a second too, but we see DD picking up 1 of the last 2, and then Zoking coming in to pick up the final one there. He's going to hand over the round to China at the end of the day and put us back up to that tied scoreline now at 3 points.
And we do see an AWP dropped over to Mo, who was actually warming up with that gun earlier on before the match went live. So let's see what damage she can do with it. Indonesia able to buy up once again here after that last eco round. They didn't get the bomb down. They did inflict a slight bit of economical damage, taking down a few players, but not really too much damage dealt overall. So let's see what happens now. Into round number 7 we go. Let's have a look at that CT setup and what they're doing. They're actually going for a really aggressive push here. Attacker alongside Zoking as well will pick up the first kill of the round, and that's important, and I like the decision here to back off. They've got that opening frag of their round. They don't need to get too aggressive, so just backing off onto their normal positions on that A-bomb site.
Now they're going to move, as you said, back over here towards the A-bomb site. China's still very spread out as well, keeping themselves very stable and very dynamic here so that they can try to react to whatever push Indonesia may make. But Indonesia actually not going directly for the A site just as of yet. They're going to try to go for mid-control, but Captain Mo again, a shot so far for the Chinese team, waiting for them just outside of middle. And he's going to be able to pick off 1 shot here and take out another player as they try to go for that boost. So that will shift them back over here into B. And again, we've got China. They're pretty much ready for this. Fancy is going to have to fall back. DD, though, in a very good position to try to counter a push inside there. He will be a little overexposed. But with his current spot, he can very quickly recorrect that and get himself into a better cover spot.
We've got DD on top of the bomb site, just chilling out with that M4 in hand, waiting for the push, which is exactly what's going to happen. But they're not looking over towards vents, all of them. Okay, Fancy misses the shot, so it doesn't matter what they're looking at or not. Now they make that entrance. It's going to be, well, a clean sweep. Nice little knockout there for China once again to destroy the push from Indonesia. But again, I have to say, I know it's still early days and everything, and this is the first game of the series, so maybe both teams just warming up. But Indonesia looking a tiny bit sloppy with some of the executes, I have to say, at times. Like there, when they were pushing through, they had 2 of those 3 players who were left alive, all concentrating their focus on one place. And we know how important that checkers area is, and we know how common it is to see teams boost a player into vent. So it's kind of, a normal area to make sure that at least one player is looking out for when you do enter that bomb site. But hey-ho, 4-3 is the score. China once again destroying the economy of Indonesia. They're back down to pistols once again. So this should, unless there's a disturbance in the script, be 5 rounds in a row for the Chinese.
And Captain Mo there, great shot and nade combo coming out from him here, as he's going to be able to completely take down one of the players here. I believe that was Rosso, or apologies, no, it ended up being Frost Misty there as he was trying to push through mid. Sis did pick up 1 kill, but as you said before, with the broken economy, this one's pretty much going to be a clean sweep, with the exception of Fancy, who was playing a very forward position inside of checkers anyway. So there they go, once again, they shut it down. They are going to take us into another gun round here as Indonesia saving up once again to be able to afford stuff, but China having that very, very good lineup now after getting past those ecos at first after dropping the pistol. Now so far undefeated after they've been able to pick up the M4s.
That is very true indeed. No AWP coming out from Indonesia once again here. They're happy with just that 5 rifle setup. And if I'm not mistaken, I think you said before we went live, or whilst we were even live, that Indonesia look a lot better on their CT side. So maybe that gives something to tell about their T side. I don't know though. We'll see. This is their map pick, so you would expect them to do well on it.
It was kind of just a general perception. I only got to watch a couple games from them yesterday, but based on what I was seeing, they play that sort of aggressive CT strategy that you see some teams pull off, and they don't really do too well with it on some occasion, but other teams just somehow manage to make it work pretty well. And from the games they had yesterday, and granted again they were playing against teams that weren't as good as the Chinese team today, but from the way that they were playing yesterday, it seemed like they were able to make that strategy work pretty well for themselves. So if they're able to pull that out again, that could be a swing come the second half, but we'll worry about that when we get here again. That takeover here towards the A site after some delay, finally going for it now at around the 40-second marker, but China, I think, might be catching on to this one as they're already starting to move extra players from mid into the site now, and they're going to be justified in their decision, and we'll need to move more over as the site take begins. Rosso trying to find his way over here. Through the alleyway back over by the forklift with the spray coming in, and so far Indonesia actually winning the trade there, a 3 for 2 as they get control of the site after the gas fades and the chaos moves out. But now again, it's going to get brought into that 2-on-3 situation as we'd already mentioned, and China not going to waste any time going for the retake at all. Rosso over here trying to move out, he finds a kill with that one, but Fancy gets the correction. Now we'll see just Fancy left alive in this 1-on-2 situation, trying to find the one inside of A-Main, brings him down to 32 HP. Now sitting back, has to be very careful of the quad player as well, but it'll be Flex again that picks up the headshot there, takes him down, and Indonesia now finally will be able to pick up another round and keep this one a close game at a 5-4 line.
Yeah, that was just simple good trades on that A-bomb site. They found out the stack that was going on. Again, another common stack that you see just peeking over towards the A-main area, concentrating their forces there. And China knew what was coming. They heard the squeaky door opening, even in their hidden positions on top of that A-bomb site. So it wasn't really too much of a surprise, but Indonesia simply won the gunfights. Big credit to Rosu, who picked up a hat-trick in that last round. So he did a good job, indeed, to be able to pick things up and ensure that round. And then once they got into those after plant positions, I kind of like the decision from China to pick up the pace a bit, try something and just maybe potentially catch them off guard. But all things said, it didn't quite work out in their favour. The after plant positions were just too strong from Indonesia, and I don't think the Chinese had too many grenades to work with. Even if they did, they didn't utilise them too much anyway. But now Chinese going out for a double AWP setup here, Mo and Fancy with those AWPs in hand, and we do have a pause. Hopefully it's not the dreaded issues that we all do not want to see. That
who we shall not name for the time being until it becomes relevant, essentially. But yeah, yes. We have seen, I believe it was Riddix that timed out. So now yesterday, I'm actually curious to check this, but it doesn't appear this is the case today. But I think yesterday, actually, all the Indonesian players were playing from the same location because they all had like the same exact ping. I was kind of hoping that was the same case today, and maybe it was just a computer crash or something. But it doesn't look like that, as I think they're all playing from their homes today, considering the different ping differentials here. And that's something to note here too, is that has been a little bit of a factor that's come into play in some of these events, is that we have seen some of these teams come out ahead because of the ping differential in the pre-qualifiers. But now in this one, I don't know, what's your opinion on this one? Try to say they got about 70 ping, you think that's affecting them too much at all, or think that it's still very playable at that state?
I think it's still playable. Obviously, you know, the lower the ping, the better it's going to be for them. It's just as simple as that. Like, that's just a fact of Counter-Strike, really. But at the same time, I think one big thing that is the problem with it is when people make such a big deal out of it. Like, when it starts to play into their mentality, when they're constantly looking at the scoreboard and saying, "Oh gosh, look at my ping compared to theirs." That will all add to it. It may not be, you know, you're going to have the disadvantage anyway. But just play with it. Just get on with it. Concentrate on your strategies and concentrate on out aiming the opponents and stuff like that. And hopefully, ping won't play too much of a factor in the results. So personally, for me, I think it's just as much as the mental effect of realizing that you've got that disadvantage or slight disadvantage than anything else. But hey ho, I may be wrong. That's just from, you know, my experiences of playing Counter-Strike anyway.
So it looks like we do have Riddix back into the game now. We should be getting started in Juri. Reassorted himself with everything he needs to know about this round. But again, for those of you that may be just joining us here on the stream, this is the World Championships. China versus Indonesia. Best of 3 set. Currently in map number 1 with China ahead. Map number 2 coming up after this one in just a few moments is going to be Inferno, or, well, obviously again, more than a few moments because we still have, you know, potentially 20 rounds. If we do need it, is going to be back over on Overpass, which again, I don't actually think we've seen an Overpass game for the Asian teams yet, so that one could be very interesting.
I love Overpass. I used to, when it first came in and I wasn't very confident with it, like casting it or playing it or anything like that, I didn't know what I thought. But now I personally love it as a map. I just lure on. But Cache and Inferno, my two favourite maps to cast and to play. And Overpass is slowly but surely coming up the ranks as well. So this is definitely a good like introduction for me onto Counter-Strike. And I also quite like it that it's a good way to kind of scope out how these teams are playing, because Inferno is a map that everybody knows, that it's been around for so long. It's quite a neutral map, which a lot of teams do favour and like. Cache is one of those, you know, which used to be really favoured in North America, if I'm not mistaken, and now we see a lot of European teams as well starting to like it and bringing that one more often. And Overpass, obviously one of the newer maps in the map pool, been around for quite a few months now, but still newer than some of the old classics, like we mentioned earlier. And so I think it's a good spread of maps, if that makes sense, and a good indication as to where these current teams are at.
Yeah, and as well, guys, just to bring up a couple more things here while we are still waiting for that player on the Indonesian squad to get himself back into the game. I don't believe we're actually going to be having any more matches today, so if you were looking to check out more on the World Championships, again, you can find the full schedule on our website, but I believe over the next few days, if we didn't do it already, we should also be doing the group draw for the European group play as well. That's probably going to be one of the more competitive groups when you look at the teams that will be participating in that one, so that one should be done live on stream, and then we'll have the full schedule on that one and more information on where you can actually watch those games coming up pretty soon. I believe North America has already been kind of done and over with here, so the only 2 stages that we should have left at this point are going to be the Asian main group stages. And again, in case anybody was curious on the format here, 3 out of 4 of the teams in this group are going to be making it out of it. The 4 teams that made it through, in case anybody was wondering on that one, we of course obviously have China and Indonesia, the teams you have playing now, and then we also have Vietnam and Kyrgyzstan, which I hope I'm saying that correctly. Me and Emily were having quite a bit of fun trying to figure out the correct way to pronounce that, but I think that's at least based off of some random text-to-speech thing I saw.
Nice.
That is supposedly the correct way to say it with a US accent, at least. The British accent's a little different.
I'm pretty sure that is. I'm not even going to attempt it. Again, I saw it on Twitter the other day, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm kind of glad I may not be casting that one, because I actually tweeted about it the other day. Obviously, like, countries can't help their name, but team, like, players as well, I swear half of them create their aliases to just troll us casters, and then, like, as soon as we can't pronounce their really confusing name, they, like, start throwing stuff at us, like, why can't you say my name correctly? So, if anybody out there is thinking of becoming a pro player and needs a new alias, can you just keep it simple with something like Nick or Bob, or just something that I can actually handle, please?
I love the thing in North America where I'm not sure if I don't think I've seen many European players do this, but in North America it's like this thing where you have your name backwards instead of just having it straightforward. Do Europeans do that too, or is that only a North American thing?
No, otherwise I'd find where they live.
That's the thing in North America, and what's funny is some of them will get like really mad if you actually say their name backwards, just because like it's like, well, how was I supposed to know that your name was backwards? Especially if it's like backwards, it's something like that you could actually read, because I don't know like what people find their aliases from. So if it's something I can read, more than likely I'm not going to think to read it backwards. Some of them are more obvious, but then you also the ones that actually like it said backwards, like Roberts on Method. actually likes it said backwards as it is on the screen. He prefers to be called Strebber, at least according to what someone else told me.
Just, it's too confusing for me. My small, tiny English brain can't handle those kind of things. I just like to watch people shooting each other. So when you have to deal with all of that rubbish on top, it certainly gets to me. Anyway, guys, as you can tell, we're just filling time here at the second, waiting for this player to come back in. Apparently, it's not the dreaded issues, beginning with the big D. It is a PC issue, like an actual technical hardware issue by the looks of things. So they're just getting that sorted out, hopefully, and it won't be too. We are back live. Apologies about the delay in the pause in these things, but hey ho, it wouldn't be Counter-Strike if we didn't have some form of delay.
Yep, and once again here, should it hopefully just be a little bit while longer. Should things go into a crazy amount of time, I imagine we will have to do something about that, but we'll be pretty lenient and we'll give the players the time they need, as PC issues can be a little bit more out of the players' hands. I know I've been having some PC problems recently that we talked about before we went live, so we'll give them the time that are needed to figure out what the heck is going on and hopefully sort that out and get themselves back into things here. Now, once again, China leading 5-4 at the moment, as we're going to be starting with the 10th round here as soon as everybody is back in and ready to play here on Cash, and then we'll take things from there as soon as everybody is back in and ready to play. China, Cash, or not, apologies, not China. Indonesia has been finally able to pick up another round for themselves here after China took that 5-round streak starting on the first gun round and going from there. But Indonesia's striking back now. This will actually be probably a pretty important, round for them when we do get back to it. Just because of the fact that, again, it will reset the economy in the losing bonus. They might be able to go for one more buy after this one. A couple of them probably going to be a little bit lower, and depending on how high the 5th player is, it could potentially break them down again and force them to go for that full eco just because the economy will be broken. But as for China here, too, now with them dropping around, if we can see Indonesia start to consistently pick up rounds, probably going to break them here as well now, too. Because you look at China's money, their money situation, not actually looking so strong at the moment. The only player that I would say is on a really good amount is probably DD, sitting at 7.9k after his buy. So should we actually see the Indonesians pick up another round here, he's absolutely going to have to drop for another teammate in the next round, and then at that point forward, they're going to be pretty much out of cash from that point.
Yep, most certainly so. Obviously, that economy is such an important factor. As I mentioned it earlier on, it is more expensive on that CT side. So even though on a lot of maps in CSGO you do have the advantage when you're on that CT side, then you also have the economy disadvantage in some aspects, like the incendiary grenades if you choose to utilize those, which I certainly like seeing CT teams do. They cost more than the Molotovs on the terrorist side, and then you have the defuse kits to factor in as well. A lot of the times, in my experience anyway, I could be wrong with this, but you see more AWPs on the CT side than the T side. Again, it completely depends on the team who is playing and the people in what role. But I feel like the AWP is better utilised on some maps on that CT side than on the T side, depending on the situations and all that stuff. I could get in that for quite a while. So yeah, you do have that economy disadvantage in some aspects. So you have to be careful and you have to make sure that you utilise it well. I'm still being told by the admin there's a complete PC change going on in the background, and they're saying it should go live really soon. We know what people really mean when they say it should go live really soon. I think we may be here for a few more minutes, so apologies about this one, guys.
Soon is the key word in that sentence that we got, so we'll have to wait and see, essentially, to see how true the admin's word is. But going back to your point about the op, it's actually a really good thing. It almost entirely depends on the confidence of the opper if he feels he can work it on T-side, because, I mean, it's actually pretty straightforward when you think about it, is that for the most part here on a CT side, is that the opper is going to be playing from a fairly stable position. He doesn't have to worry about peeking out and finding out, not only connecting the shot to begin with, but actually figuring out where his opponents are in the first place, because there could be a couple different positions where the Chinese players, or the CT players in general, may be positioned from, whereas on the CT side, you normally only have to worry about 1 to 2 different angles, and you can, obviously, again, with training, react to that pretty quickly, so the oppers are going to be much more confident on their CT side, and especially, too, if the opper tends to struggle a little more with just finding peak shots where he has to wrap out and very quickly find the target and connect it, he may not feel as confident. I know for a fact, when I had the chance when I was doing the Asian Qualifiers for North America, I did one of those little mini interviews after the game with Adren, and he actually made this point essentially exactly because he had to do the shot calling, or he was doing the shot calling for the team a little bit too, so not only was he having to worry about that on his T side, but also had to worry about shot calling too, so he had essentially just resigned himself to essentially really not using the op that much on the T side, and even letting a teammate take it when it was used. So it really entirely depends on who the player is and how confident he feels on his T side and with the op in general with those kinds of shots.
It's a real risky gun in itself. Like, people feeling confident with the AWP, but it's a $4,750 investment, and that's before you buy armor and everything like that, you know, grenades and utility, blah 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 blah. So it's a big risk just to even have one. And if, for example, you know, like you're not on form with that AWP, or you are the weaker AWP player in the server going up against another team, you know, and you are losing those AWP battles, you've got to have that kind of inner demon inside you saying, should I just put this thing away for this game and try my hand at rifling, because the AWP is just not working and it's really causing damage to our economy. So I personally have a lot of respect for the AWP players, because I feel that they have in some respects a harder time, simply because they've got to decide whether to go for the thing. They've got to judge how on form they're feeling with the AWP on the day, and, you know, factor in the opponents and who they're playing up against and stuff like that. So there are so many different, like, little tiny aspects which may almost be a subconscious reaction to something sometimes, and they may not actively think about these things, but I'm sure they may, you know, like, cross a couple of players' minds. I'm not saying that I'm a pro player and can speak for them all, but yeah, that's why I like seeing the AWP duels, because I feel that there's a lot on the line with an AWP.
Alright guys, well I just got word in private from the admin. This match should be going live in like 3 seconds, if he's correct. So we'll wait, see if I'm a magician.
Three exact seconds.
Damn, now I'm good.
How did you do that?
I can
that
count,
was
man.
magic.
That's crazy.
That was magic. Were you, like, counting on your fingers from when the message came through?
No, that was a straight up guess, man. That was just luck right there. Alright, so we're going back into things, guys, once again. Coming off of this one, a very important round for both of our teams, of course. China trying to maintain their economy and their win streak going here after Indonesia picked up a round, whereas Indonesia is trying to break it and keep their own rolling here as well, and possibly enable to come back. But immediately here, the Chinese are going to get super aggressive. Zouking moves forward and is able to find Flex out in the back of the B-hulls, and already now, the Indonesians are going to be a man down. China did have to negotiate, or did have to move, I should say, actually, another extra player over here to the B site to make sure that that kill went off, but it's all been worth it as Indonesia. They're not going to react to this at all. They're just going to sit back, and they're actually going to look for more aggression at this point.
First frag still in favour of the Chinese, though not being returned as of yet, although DD is not very low, and they're just scouting out information. Once again, here are the T's favouring that A-bomb site, where they've really held a lot of their presence here so far. But looking at that CT setup, it's kind of standard so far. You've got an attacker there over towards the quad area, rotating to NBK just to the side of the squeaky door, and then Zouking, the man on your screen, just preparing with the grenades. And we see these Chinese catch them off guard and push through, you know, and they've still got those grenades in hand. They could technically do a lot of damage here. I like presetting the grenades, but in some respects, you could see it as being a tiny bit risky as well. Anyway, that being said, Frost Mist is going to open things up onto the A-bomb site here. 20 seconds left, and Indonesia are leaving this right to the last few seconds. The rotation's coming in, so they've got to do damage soon.
And meanwhile, Captain Mo going to be ripping them apart now with that 5-7. He picks off one shot, and to be honest with the Indonesians, it looks like they're trying to fall back here now, look for any sort of exits or any sort of mispositions from the Chinese players. They know they're not getting this one. They're out of time, and it's been brought all onto Sis. Sis is going to get aggressive and find 2 more before he finally drops to Captain Mo. So the damage will be done, but waiting far too long in order to make the play there. And the Indonesians just not able to find their way into the site when it came time to pull the punch. And the Chinese are going to be able to pick up that round after the play completes.
It was really telegraphed there from Indonesia. The clock was wearing down, and it was pretty obvious what was going on. There was absolutely no attention over towards B. So China knew what was coming, and then as soon as those grenades started to come in, the CT counter grenades did their job, as did the quick rotation. So lovely work indeed, winning the duels, and that's going to be a 6-4 score. And as you pointed out, the economy now for Indonesia is in a bit of a mess. Sis started off with around about $6,000 in the bank at the start of this round, so he's picked up an AK and also gone for head armor as well, once again by the looks of things, just to try and even out that economy. And this would be a really big round for them to pick up, but it was that worst case scenario, as you said, during the pause. They won, Chinese won 5 rounds, then Indonesia came back with 1, and then their money got completely reset after losing the next round, and that's like the worst possible scenario.
Now we see again Indonesia looking for a way into that A site. Frost Misty actually already pushing forward here, as we can see, situated just below the jump spot right now, or the shroud spot as it's called in North America. And now he's going to push out, looking for the players in quad corner. There was a slightly jumped up player in quad itself, but once again, Frost Misty moving forward, but Zouking actually going to claim 2 before he ends up falling there. One of them's going to be after death due to that molly placement, and Captain Mo with the nades again, finding another kill here. The offensive, time and time again from Indonesia, continues to be crushed, and Mo will claim not only that kill, but the final one as well. as he takes out Frost Misty, and again keeps the score high for China, as they now sit at 7 points, and Indonesia just can't seem to hold that site after they get it.
No, they cannot. And Captain Mo, you pointed him out, he's really the standout player so far on the server for me. Double KD, 13-6 is his score, and cleaning things up in good fashion, and he is the AWP player as well. And one thing that we haven't really talked about too much yet is just how important that mid presence is, and he's been locking it down well with that AWP. We've not really seen the Indonesians go for much mid presence whatsoever, and I'd really like to see them try to go for something here and maybe smoke off that connector area, trying to eliminate the AWP and changing things around. Frost Misty's looking like he's heard me. Obviously they are delayed, so he has presence, and it's just such a great avenue here. You can see the amount of areas that it could lead to, and will it lead to anything here? They've traded back and forward, but Frost Misty down to 6 HP. He's in a tricky spot. They're picking up their pace now, putting up the running boots, as in comes the push towards the B-bomb site.
Now they're going to work their way in. So far, pretty clean now, as they also are going to be a man up on the Chinese roster. Sis keeping his eyes back over here into the vents to watch out for any sort of push. Zouking will be moving on to him here in just a few moments, but meanwhile the plant is going to complete itself. Smokes up in heaven, possibly inside of main as well. As the Chinese play it nice and patient, but Sis again, good patience from him. He's able to find a kill, but now we see Attacker moving in. He finds one. Captain Mo working that up again. Is going to even the up out, but unfortunately Attacker, he's going to get shut down by Sis on the way in. But now Mo again picking up another frag. He's going to be able to find Flex. This brings things down onto a 1 versus 1. Mo trying to get aggressive, but also cautious here as he moves in, but he's going to run right in. He picks up that kill. He's got the kit, and I think he's going to have just enough time to pull off this defuse. China remain undefeated once again here, except for that one little blip. And we'll put it at an 8-4 scoreline now after a great retake coming out from them.
Really nice stuff, and again, Captain Mo leading the charge. 3 kills for him and a clutch as well, and that's a shame for Indonesia, because I really like the play that they made there. They got that trade frag, they got good control of mid finally, and opened up that avenue on towards the B-bomb site. They split it, sending a couple of players through vents and a couple through that B-toxic area as well, and they got the frags, they got into the afterplants, they set down the grenades. Really like the Molotov grenade that came in over towards the CT spawn area, just making sure that there were no aggressive pushes coming in from China, but when individual players like Mo just stand out like that and land their frags, it all comes to no fruition here. So Indonesia once again, money broken, going for the upgraded pistol buy with Frost Misty and AK-47 to his name. They're looking like they're going back towards A, but they've really not had that much success over towards this larger bomb site.
And Zouking, after seeing the smokes, he knows there's probably going to be a play to work its way back over there by the forklift. But that smoke back over here, over by the red box, actually fades a little bit early. And now Zouking, it's his turn to play as he finds one. Mo as well here, getting another shot for himself. He's going to be able to take out those final 2. Zouking and Captain Mo doing a great job of holding that site. And although Indonesia look like they might have had a good start again, it just gets Kamars on the Chinese roster.
So they will buy up here. Let's see how much money's in the bank for these last 2. Really, actually, not too much. I think they're going to force up. Yeah, there we go. Frost Misty's going to have to get that Galil. He did have that AK in the last round, so slightly deprived now, but he's not really got too many grenades to work with. On the other side of things, though, just look at the Chinese economy. They could really not ask for too much more in the bank if they tried. I was going to make a joke about the Chinese economy there, but I thought I'd better not, otherwise I'd land myself in trouble somehow. Anyway, penultimate round of the first half. All those grenades being used slowly but surely here. Now this is better. This is what I wanted to see potentially from Indonesia here, is to look to try and get some mid control. But have a look at the mid setup coming from China. This is a standard thing now that we're seeing on this CT side of Cash. It's what we call the 1-3-1 setup. So you can see that we've got 1 player in DD on B, Attacker over towards A, and then 3 in mid. It's all back and forward. Those the trades start to come in 1 for 1.
And they might have just revealed their intentions there. Unfortunately, China not going to get enough intel to move off of that one. Now they work their way, trying to get into this B site. DD in a very, very preservative spot, as we can see, sitting behind the boxes and checkers right now. If we see Indonesia go loud, he's going to know and he's going to call the rotation. But overall here, probably not expecting too much resistance on his part, especially considering that at the current time, Indonesia seems to be ultimately avoiding checkers room. So if it's the case here, then more than likely we won't really see any action to kill Indonesian players. However, DD does surprise. It's Sis, though, with a great turnaround. Immediately picks up the headshot, and now Captain Mo as well, finding another option. He's going to be able to take out Riddick, switches to the Tech 9, takes out the second player, and then moves in and takes out the planter as well. So Captain Mo again, and again, that very nice patient play from DD, just waits for his prey to get very close to the trap, essentially, then springs it, and as well the call had also gone up.
I really love it when you see a CT pick up a couple of kills with a drop Tech 9, because we know how overpowered that Tech 9 is on the T side. So when you see a CET pick it up and just shove Karma straight back into the T side's face, it's certainly what I like to see. It brings justice to the overpowered Tech 9 in my opinion. But Captain Mo with another triple there, that's already going to land him on 21 frags, with only 6 deaths so far. And he's certainly leading the charge, and we've only played 14 rounds here, so a pretty standout performance from him. And Indonesia, just at this minute, they just don't have an answer for what's going on with the Chinese. Let's not forget that this is Cash and this is Indonesia's map choice. So for China to have such a good half so far is really good. And we talked about how this is a counter-terrorist favoured map. It's certainly not this counter-terrorist. You know, a 9-6, 8-7 scoreline would be pretty good. If Indonesia can get 10-5, then yeah, that'll be okay. But we will see. We will see.
And now they're going to try to work their way in. So far, Zoking holding strong, but now Riddick's picking up a nice headshot, and Frostmist as well. It's going to find another one to take down Attacker, but now Fancy, along with Captain Mo, the star player, now moving back in from the highway. DD and Fancy going to find one. Captain Mo rolling in to pick up another, and Fancy finds the final one. And although, again, we see Indonesia getting their way into the site, they cannot hold it at all. And China will pick up that 11th round to finish off the half at an 11-4 scoreline. Very much so in the favor of China, and going to make things that much harder for the Indonesians as we switch halves to put them on the CT side.
It was pretty sloppy, and let's not forget, I hate to sound like a biased guy and just smashing players for bad play. That's not what I'm about. I just, these players, even though they may not, have the opportunity to play against each other too much, and they may not, be up to the standards of European or North American Counter-Strike, they are still representing their countries, and there's a lot on the line here. And Indonesia picked up that first pistol round. Then, if you remember correctly, Indonesia were left alive half. They only won one single round. So this scoreline could have been potentially like a 14-1 half if they hadn't have picked up that pistol round. And talking about pistol rounds, and the Batches port that we underestimate is a very, very important round. And pistol round for now the CT side of Indonesia.
If Indonesia drop this one, it's essentially going to be GG, as that will put it up to 14-4 at that point. And again, that's really only one gun round away from being at the very least at the 15th point, and that does not leave any room for error on Indonesia's part, so odds are we'll just see China close it out at some point in the future from that point forward. So China definitely going to be feeling good, and more importantly, of course, Captain Mo has to be feeling really good right now, sitting at a 22-6 scoreline, really kind of rocketing ahead of everybody else in the Chinese roster right now and making those plays time and time again on the CT side. And to be completely honest, I would say that a majority of those kills were on retakes and were on more aggressive situations. So I am a little bit scared to see how effective he's going to be on the T half as well. But we're moving into it now once again, so let's take a look at just how effective he and the rest of China are going to be on the T side, and the same story for Indonesia as the second half is getting started right now.
Look at the grenades coming in from Indonesia here. So many flashes and a good few smoke grenades as well. So they've only got one player with armor and one kit. Let's see if it pays off for them, though. You said that just from the little that you saw from them the other day, they potentially did look better on their CT side. That could have been a thing on the days or so. That could just be the way that they play. They could be like the TSN, the Dignitas of old, of course, with Fetish on the roster, where they pretty much just did everything on their CT side. China, though, leading the charge, and I completely agree with your point. Captain Mo was playing so aggressive on the CT side and picked up 22 frags. I dread to think what he could do here on the T side. They make their pushing, they're splitting the A-bomb side, and there we go. He's opened things up. It's back and forth trays, but it has favoured China, and this is not looking good now for Indonesia. They've got one flashbang to work with. They have got a defuse kit and one player with armour, but they were the 2B players, so now China have got themselves into some really good after-plant positions. Attacker, you don't need to peek out there yet, mate. I know that you want the information, but you're feeling a bit confident, and well, if you're going to land shots like that, who am I to say not to peek? That's the first kill. He's going to pick up the second one as China finally win this pistol round. Really good stuff from them.
Yeah, and Attacker, ironically enough, coming out there with the 2 kills and kind of getting aggressive enough in order to pick up the final kills that were needed to give China the round, and that is not going to be the best situation for Indonesia now. They absolutely have to try, at the very least, to do some large amount of damage here, so that when we get to the gun round, China are going to be missing a nade or two, but that's a very hard task to accomplish over on the CT side when you're facing off against the T-side economy, which is a lot more forgiving and is a lot lighter overall. So Indonesia is sitting on very, very thin ice at this point, and not a lot that could save them unless they manage to come through and clutch out one of these rounds on their ecos.
What do you think about this buy coming in from Indonesia? Because in this state, nice tag there coming in. I'll talk about that in a second. DD down to 10 points of health. But, I mean, China, Indonesia in a really tricky spot here, so I would really like to see them buy up bigger, really take a big risk now, because they've almost got to. Captain Mo is literally just having target practice right now. This is crazy. He's just, I think that's already him on 25 frags so far. They managed to get onto the B-bomb site because everybody from Indonesia gambled going over towards A and mid as well, or at least overextended over towards that area, because now they are virtually completely shut out of this round. But still, it will eventually fall to USP. But yeah, my point was, what did you think of this buy? Because they're in a really tricky spot here in Indonesia. They're so many rounds behind, and they did have some money to use. I really would have liked to have seen them buy some armor, get some 5-7 in hands, maybe one more scout.
Because, force buying up on one of those rounds could potentially limit them a little bit more on the gun round itself, and they could be missing a little bit more utility, but picking up the 3 kills, I think, is going to give them the motivation needed to do it again here, and ensure they have the maximum amount of money they could look for in that gun round, because that gun round's essentially it. I mean, they need to put everything they have into that gun round here, because, you can take the big risk on winning out one of those eco rounds where you're going to be at much of a less arsenal than your opponents, or you can, of course, save it for the big round there and make sure you have the best chance possible, and I think that's what the Indonesian roster wanted to do here. And not only that, but trying to do as much economical damage as possible on these ecos. Unfortunately, although the first one went okay, this one not going so well, as it sort of just looks like China running over Indonesia in this 18th round.
It's pretty much just a reversal but a repeat of what we saw in the first half, because we saw the T side pick up the pistol, then it was left in with 2 players left alive on the T side in the second round on their anti-eco, and then a clean sweep in the third round, just in the complete opposite fashion, obviously. But I think the reason why I would have, again, I could be wrong, and this is just my opinion on it, so anybody can feel free to disagree, but the reason why I would have liked to have seen them buy up armor and really force it up in round number 17 there is simply for the fact that they were 12-4 behind, and if they went for what they have done now, they're going to be 14-4 behind, meaning that there is absolutely no room for mistakes. So if they could catch China off guard when they were 12-4 down, pick up the round and wreck their economy, then it would be 12-5, and then maybe just a bit more of a sliver of hope of bringing themselves back into this one. That being said, they've gone for the option here where they didn't buy up as much, now giving them that advantage of having more in the bank here from round number 19. So 5 M4 is the name of the game, 2 defuse kits, good amount of utility as well. Let's see if Indonesia can claw themselves back into this one, or whether China will continue their dominant form on cash.
The volley of nades moving in, and China not going to wait any time at all here. They're rolling right into the site. Indonesia going to get caught a little bit off guard, but Sis moving in, trying to correct the issues now as he works to get site control back quickly, but now Attacker moving back over here through the forklift. He's going to be able to pick up a headshot on Sis in the plant, coming out here now from Fancy, as the Chinese players are going to be a man up here. Indonesia slowing their roll a little bit here. And although they were looking for a very aggressive retake at the start to prevent the plant, now they've had to hold it back for a little more, and they're going to move in. Rosso finds one. Captain Mo gets a response. DD as well, peeking back out, but we did see Flex picking up another one as well. He finds another, but gets caught on the weapon trade. DD finishes him off, and now that's going to be China sitting at 15 points. Indonesia with no money to buy, and probably China now taking the first map in their direction.
We've only played 20 rounds, and Mo has picked up 30 frags and isn't even in double-figure deaths. That just shows how dominant this game has been. Credit to the rest of the players, though. I know we are giving them a lot of love, but it's good standard play here from China. They've not done anything out of the ordinary. They're just picking up the trade kills. They're looking really confident, and they're the ones dominating the game. They are not allowing Indonesia to do what they want to do. Even there, we saw Indonesia smoking out mid. Rossi was going to peek up aggressively and really try and get into the faces towards team main, but they just answer back. They win the gunfights, and there's nothing that Indonesia can do. Captain Mo will fall here, so we are now left in a 4 versus 3, but even an even 4 versus 4 situation would favour the T's, because the CTs have to split up. But that being said, 3 quick kills in a row. Frostmithy, the last one left alive, and this is going to be a 16-4 scoreline on cash, unless he can do something miraculous. He will not. And what a convincing result here from China. Indonesia completely pushed out of that game.
Yep, and that is going to close out our first map, guys. China taking it very convincingly, 16-4, and that's going to be the end of our first map. Second map should be coming up here in just a few moments, Inferno. That's going to be China's pick, and will be very interesting to see, because we've actually had a lot of cases so far in the past few days where the team that picked their map lost their map pick, and then the map they didn't pick, they managed to win it. So we'll see if that sort of ironic trend continues here today. But with China coming off with a convincing scoreline like that, it's definitely going to be a toughie. However, we'll be returning, guys, in just a few minutes. We're going to play some commercials really fast, and as soon as our teams are ready to play on map number 2, we'll be right back at you with more of the World Championships here. Our best of 3 set between China and Indonesia continuing in just a few moments.
favourite things. Just love seeing the arch pushes.
But he's going to pick up another kill on a DD. Fancy is going to be able to take him out, but now Fancy stuck in a 1-on-3 clutch scenario and making as much noise as I'm sure that Sis has heard him. And as soon as he comes out of this hall here, unless he is clutch with the trigger, there you have it. Sis has taken him out. And at the end of a very long pistol round, Indonesia are going to come out on top. And once again, we'll be starting off somewhat of the same way that we did on Cash.
Yeah. And I really like the play there, actually, when they stuck at least one player relatively aggressive in that apartments area. They completely caught out the rush coming in from China there. And that's the thing with that T-side pistol round. There are various ways you can play it. I personally really enjoy that second mid push going through apps. Just in pugs, it's a really easy one to get going, where you just get 3 players coming through balcony, 2 through boiler, and you just completely destroy the quad side. But it didn't quite work out in their favour, and now they're really forcing things up. They're not going to be able to go for that third round early buy because they weren't able to plant the bomb in that last round. So head armor all round, 4 Tech 9s and a Deagle in the hands of the standout player from that first map, which was Mo. But what do you think about this Indonesian buy here? Because they've not got a single rifle going on, they've all got SMGs.
I think they're probably a little bit worried about the strength of the Chinese aim in overall here when it gets to the gun rounds, so we're probably looking at them just overall playing the economical game and trying to stack up as much money as humanly possible here on these 2 rounds, so that when we get to that gun round, should China come back in and starts taking rounds away from them, they can at least try to stabilize things a little better and pick up 1 to 2 more gun rounds before they're forced to eco is probably the rationale behind this. We saw them do the same thing yesterday too, so they're just a team that likes to get that strong economy established on the CT side before they even worry about getting the kills. However, now with the Tech 9s in play from the Chinese roster, they're going to come bustling into the B site there, almost immediately taking out the 2 defenders, and now they've got control. They're even getting themselves into post plants here too. This is looking like we might see China just steal this round away before Indonesia can even get that economy going.
Indonesia have got to back away here, they really do. I don't even know why they went for that retake, to be quite honest. It was never going to happen. They were the 3A players coming in. The entries just went in favour of China, and right from the second that they got control and got that smoke down on CT, in my opinion, there was no way that Indonesia were coming back into this round, to be quite honest. And that is heartbreaking for them, especially considering the first map score. They've got to put that shocking 16-4 result behind them and just move on here. So I'm not going to mention it too much for their sake as well. But I'm pretty sure that it's actually worse for the economy if you win the pistol round and then lose the second round in comparison to if you just lose, if you just lose that first round alone, pretty much. I'm not too sure, I could be wrong with that, but in comes the push. They're getting good arch control here. Maybe they're going to go for that wrap over towards CT spawn. It looks like they could be doing so. They've got 2 easy frags here on this A bomb site. The money for Indonesia hasn't allowed them to pretty much buy up a single thing, and they've got full control of A. So instead of going for that split over towards the B bomb site, they know that they've got full A control, so you can see that bomb now rotating its way through quad side. So a really nice anti-eco, clean and easy for China so far.
Yeah, and back to your point about the economy, it really does make it that much worse, because not only, again, do you essentially have to reset yourself, and you're dealing with the same situation that you would have had to if you had lost the pistol round, where you're going to have to essentially go for the double, possibly triple save, so we won't really probably be seeing too strong of a buy here on the 4th round, whereas China can go for the full upgrade if they want to, but the bigger problem is going to be that not only you're dealing with that, but now we've been through a round where China have actually already gotten not only the pickups that they got from the forced pistol they went for, but anything that they were able to scavenge off of Indonesia's too, so they get the free upgrades, their economy remains stronger, and Indonesia essentially gets put around behind the rest of the game.
Well, there we go. No players going down for China, and they will upgrade a couple of weapons by this thing, or maybe just one. Zadidi's going to get that AK-47 in hand. Plenty of money in the bank, and they are looking to continue that dominance which they started out on Cash with. Hopefully Indonesia can respond though. I wouldn't want this one to go to a quick 2-0 sweep in good fashion. Although that's great for China and that's a real good boost for them, and credit to them if they can do so, it's still not, for a caster and as a neutral fan, you want to make sure that there's some good close tense Counter-Strike on your screen. So a 5-man stack coming in for Indonesia here. Let's see if China can work that read out and potentially push elsewhere.
And now Zoking as well, sitting back here inside of the apartments, looking again for any sort of aggression that would come up from Indonesia, but they're actually sitting on the exact site they need to. The big problem is going to be, though, is back over here Fancy. If he moves in first before we actually see them pushing through mid, then he could potentially realize that this site's open, but thankfully for the Indonesian players, DD is going to make the first strike. On the reverse coin of things here, DD as well is going to find the first and second kills. Attacker finds one. Frost Misty finally gets a response, but that's all he gets as Captain Motor quick with the cleanup, and Zoking finding the final frag there too. Once again, China waltzing onto that A site, taking it without too much trouble there. and knocking out the Indonesians. Now they're finally going to be able to get enough money here on the 5th round to go for that buy-up now that China sits at the 3-1 scoreline.
And China are going to go for those 5 AK-47s now. Only one player has died for them in the 3 rounds that they have won. So their money is rocking and rolling. On the other side of things, though, Indonesia not looking good. I'm not too sure what's going on with Flux at the second, though. There we go. He has eventually bought, just taking a few seconds there, but he's good. But this is the thing now. That's the worrying thing about when you're so late like that, is that it could potentially land your teammate in trouble, or if there's a quick push coming in, you know, it could land badly. Luckily, on a relatively small map like Inferno, he hasn't got far to go to head to that B-bomb site, so it's not really going to lead to too much anyway. But no AWPs coming in whatsoever for any teams. All the rifles. Well, let's see how it plays out, and it's really not surprising now, obviously, to see China just slow up the pace a bit, knowing that Indonesia will have those all-important M4s.
And now we see China again looking to work their way up here through Banana, try and find a way into the site, whereas there is a little bit of mid-presence as well, just to try and rattle the cage a bit, as it were. They're not making that move as of yet here. Zoking probably looking to try to find a way at a boiler if he can, but there's a lot of resistance that could come his way. But it's all fallen back, and this is absolutely perfect if we see the push stay over towards the B site, because now you've seen the Indonesian players, they've not only been pushed off of the mid angles, but they're actually further into the A site, so that's going to increase the rotation time, and even if they can pick up these kills here too. But there's Frost Misty actually finding the first one for Indonesia. Now the take's going to start, but Rosso gets aggressive. He's going to drop the bomb carrier and a second too, as he takes down Fancy. He takes a little bit of damage on the way back, but that's not going to matter. But Captain Mo, holy crap, that spray control finds both Flex and Rosso. And now it's going to put it into a 1-on-3, trying to get the plant, but DD in a race against time now to reinforce his teammate. Mo going to overpeak a little bit, so Riddick's will take him out pretty easily, but now DD on the flank could potentially take out these final 3, finds the first one, looking for the second now, back over here, that'll come through spools, but not expecting Sis to come behind him there on Banana. We are going to see that clean up there from the Indonesians, and they will be able to take the first gun round here on the CT side, and bring it that much closer to once again tying things back up and taking the lead against China on this half.
I don't know why Mo peaked that. I really don't know why Mo peaked that. I get that he's feeling confident and he just got 2 entries there to allow the bomb plant for China, but he had like 30 HP, and it was pretty obvious that a player was coming from there. He had a good opportunity to move away from barbecue, sit himself in spools or towards construction area and just chill out, wait for the CTs to push. As I say, I get that he's confident. He got 2 kills in a round, he had a great first map, and he wanted to catch Indonesia off guard, but too big of a risk, and it landed his teammate in a whole world of hurt. So good round though for Indonesia. Nice opening fight on that B-bomb site from Mo, so I think that was that you spotted over towards there to eliminate quite a few Chinese players there.
And now again we see the players from China trying to make their way up Banana, but a nice forward smoke comes out from the Indonesian roster, and that's going to prevent them initially. Also seeing, too, again, the Chinese trying to get a little bit more control inside of the apartments and then work that out to vents. Zoking will take up the same standard position he's been doing for a while, but he'll have to deal with Frost Misty this time. He was a little bit further on the site, but now he's going to take up over here behind the pole and hopefully catch him off guard. Rosao again finding the opener for the Indonesians with Zoking actually there. He was going for fishing. He ends up coming out big there as he's going to be able to find another kill early. Brings it down into a 4-on-4, but once again, we do see Frost Misty picking up the kill immediately after that, and he's also going to fall back without too much trouble. But now we see Attacker back over here on the B side. He does clear things out, so that'll prop the fallback from China. They're going to go and regroup back over there at the B site, get the plant down there. They'll be racing against Indonesia, but Indonesia really didn't catch on to this this fallback and rotation over to the B site very quickly at all, so they should be able to get this plant with no trouble at all.
Well, now splitting up there, and they have realised what's going on. The smoke's going to come in deep in towards truck there, so try not to allow things going on, and another smoke comes in just over towards CT spawn. We've got one player in DD, I believe that is, over towards the sandbag area. He's going to meet up with Ross out any second now. The flashbangs come in as the retake situation is on here. DD's going to catch Ross out off guard though, and that's player advantage to China. Back and forth it's traded though, as Frost Misty does respond, but the clock is ticking. They've got kits, they found another player, and they're going to be able to do this lovely retake there from Indonesia. They will be able to pick up the defuse with a good few seconds to spare. They'll be rewarded with a balloon and confetti party on the B-bomb site, and we're all even, 3-3.
And that was actually a bit interesting too. That we saw the double emo setup coming up for them. I guess they were hoping to catch Indonesia off guard there by having 2 players positioned in that spot, but Sis, again, not going to be fooled by that. He checks both those spots again, catches out that final player, and that great aggression coming out there too. I think it was from Frost Mist was one of the final players, and he's able to close it out along with his teammate there. to give Indonesia another win, and now tying things up. China, of course, still strong on the buys. This will probably be one of the last ones they can do. They might actually be able to squeeze out another one here because they're starting to get the losing bonus going now, but we'll wait and see on that one. However, the big story, of course, is on Banana there. Indonesia still remaining strong. China have been having a lot of trouble getting past Banana so far, as once again, Rosal as well as Flex are going to find 2 opening kills and already bring China down to 3 players. Bomb still down way over on the T-ramp here too, as Frost Misty is going to be able to pick up another kill. Sitting up on top of the shed, there's Sis with another one. Finally, we see something for China as Zoking is going to be able to find Riddix, but that's all they're going to get as Frost Misty picks up another kill. Zoking gets a little bit too aggressive, just blindly pushes through mid, and is not expecting Sis to still be positioned on top of the shed there.
Yeah, he didn't even check it, which is a bit surprising. Yeah, maybe just a lack of communication from his teammates or something like that. You see it again with this PUG format. When a player dies, they may be a bit frustrated and they may not call out initially exactly where that player is. You wouldn't expect it in an official match like that, but I don't know. Zoking didn't even look over towards quad, let alone up on top of that porch kind of area. Still, though, China, with the amount of money that they racked up early on, even though they've lost 3 rounds in a row here, they are going to be able to rebuy once again, and they have got the trade flag. They're going to be able to get another one as Flux right in the middle of the inferno, I didn't mean the pun there, of the incendiary grenades, is going to be able to get burnt to a crisp, and now Zoking with 2 kills in a round. They've opened up that B-bomb site. The quick rotation is going to have to come in. They're going to be able to plant the bomb here. So let's see if Indonesia can pull off another retake.
Again, that little bit of a slow rotation over from the A site is going to bring that timer down a little bit lower as they're trying to get themselves in the position. The smoke comes out, and Attacker blindly through the smoke there. Only had the intel where that smoke was tossed out from just a few seconds ago, but he is able to pick up the kill from it. Captain Mo gets aggressive himself, though, and moves through to find another kill and assist. But now Frost Misty waiting for Captain Mo. He's going to be able to take him down, but unfortunately, that's probably all he's going to be able to look for on the aggressive end of things. He sits back, takes up a more standard position, but can't hold it very well. Down to 35 HP. He's going to fall back, and we'll definitely be seeing China pick up this round. And that's where Frost Misty slowly getting boxed in. We'll see if he can hold here. Not going to be the case. Attacker will eliminate him, so no saves at all for the Indonesian roster. And China, once again, will tie things right back up after we've seen that great comeback from Indonesia. Again, now let China take control. We'll see if they can maintain it, or if Indonesia will just strike right back again. And it looks like they can go for another buy here, too, so they're going to have the weapons to do it.
This is interesting because they've got a couple of players who are low, so yeah, there we go. Riddix and Flux actually having to go for those French FAMASs in hand, and they've really not got too many grenades to work with. They've got 2 smokes for the rest of this entire round. So interesting stuff, and have a look at this. They're actually stacking loads of players over towards apartments, no CT players over towards Arch whatsoever. So they are gambling their forces, and it could pay off. The aggressive T and Captain Mo's going to go down first, and 2 players up in Alps. They've completely got a great read on China here. That's 2 frags in a row, and that's almost potentially going to shut China out of this round. These last 3 remaining T players have got a lot of work to do here.
Well, they push through middle here. They are going to get control of that zone for free, but they don't really want to take the risk on going for it here, considering they haven't really had too much success, no success at all, in trying to take out these players, and I'm sure the intel is that much more worse, so they're going to take their chances on the fact that Indonesia is still gone for the default setup, which is the case, but they have moved Riddix over here to the Arch Hall, and that's going to be the floater position, so he's essentially already ready to move to B. He'll probably be a little bit behind, considering his current position, but he's already suspecting... No, maybe not. Yeah, I think he's going to get the call now, so he's going to be on the way over to that site, but now in comes China, too. It's going to be Attacker that leads the charge. Not going to be able to fly anything at first, but he does get the position of one player. Now you do have that floater rotated, and he's able to do some damage right off the bat. That's Riddix. And now you've got Flex. Rosal peeking out, only able to find one, though, as Fancy takes him out, as well as Flex from earlier. Now the plant, as he's going to be forced to do this here, really only looking for the money bonus from that at this point, but as well, he's going to try to do as much damage as possible. Finds headshot onto Riddix, but falls to Frost Misty. And again, that will be Indonesia reclaiming the lead here. Very close, as they are brought down to 2 players and both at pretty low HPs, but we are able to see them come out on top again there, as China was a little bit messy actually trying to find their way into that B site after losing 2 players initially, and that is going to allow Indonesia to once again take the lead away from the Chinese players.
The economy, though, especially with that bomb plant, is going to mean that China are going to be able to rebuy here. And it's just such an important element, those bomb plants. I know we talk about it a lot, but the fact that they got that bomb down means that they're able to potentially get more AKs than Galils in this round, that they've got a couple more grenades to work with as well. It's still not the best economy, considering that Captain Mo has got a Deagle in hand and Attacker has got the Galil. But, all things being said, they're going to be able to buy up. And let's see what damage they can do. Back and forth rounds has been so far, and this is a lot more competitive than Cash was, so let's hope that it continues as we go forward. A standard even setup from the CTs. Nothing really too crazy here. Peeking a couple of guys, that's Russell actually over towards the banana area, seeing what information he can find. But not too much else going on. All quiet on the Western Front until now.
Now we see DD pushing forward here. He's going to find the headshot on the Frost Misty. That's China picking their way into the site. They're looking for the one that's sitting back over there inside of Cubby 2, and they're going to find it. Riddix falls down. Fancy taking out the player from Pit 2. That's Sis. And you've got DD looking out for the flank ready. He finds Rosal. Heavy loss to his health as he dropped to 12 HP, but he gets the kill anyway. But now it's just Flex left alive in this 1 versus 5. Brings it in down to 4 there as he takes that attacker. But everybody else from China is going to chase him down, and a relatively clean round from China. Again, great job finding essentially every entry that they need to do, watching out for the flank as well. Overall, a flawless execution from them, and they are able to pick up another round as we're going to be bouncing back and forth here a little bit as these teams fight for control of this half.
Well, the war of attrition has favoured the T-side of China now, as Indonesia are as broken as they could possibly ever hope not to be. Back down onto absolutely nothing. The nade stack coming in from mid with China there, just looking what they can do, but not surprising that Indonesia are going for the 5-man stack on a bomb site here. They're going over towards A. China are going to utilise those sky boxes as they push their way onto the B-bomb site. They're not going to find anybody initially though, so these utility grenades are going to be wasted. The rotation will come through there by the looks of things. Now they've worked out that there is absolutely nobody here, and that Indonesia are on the other bomb site. So China just looking at the clean shot, spraying through the smoke will be Zoking. I think he's going to do some damage. Fancy's pushed through construction, and he will pick up those first 2 frags. Make it the first 3 frags of the round. So this is going to be a 6-5 score in favour of China. Again, similarly to Cash, this is a CT favoured map, but not all too, like crazy. It's not like a nuke or anything crazy like that. Again, like a kind of 9-6 half is what you're going to be aiming for in favour of the CT. So the fact that China are already on 6 rounds on this less favoured side is pretty darn good.
Yeah, the big problem for Indonesia at this point is just going to be that, again, we expect the CT to take an advantage, but with Inferno being the map it is, it's definitely one that you think the CT's come ahead a little bit more on. So China taking this close of a half already, and, I mean, already getting the 6 points. They're basically already at what you would expect to grab on a standard T-side of the game here, so that's not going to be looking too good for Indonesia switching halves, especially considering, again, that their CT side is going to be the stronger one. They absolutely have to try and check up as many rounds as possible, because once they jump on the T side, it just gets that much harder to pick up the rounds that are needed in order to close out the match, at least for this team too, considering how much trouble they had on their T side back over on Cash.
Into round number 12 we go. A false buy from Indonesia, and it is not a pretty one here whatsoever. Only 2 M4s to utilise, 1 player forced onto pistols, and again those grenades or the utility just really not favouring them whatsoever. So this could be really bad for them. Rossu's going to have to be the main player as he picks up 1, but still the frags have gone in favour of that T-side of China. The headshot comes in there. Really nice frags from Attacker. He's really been doing pretty well, I've got to say, with these entry frags, especially over towards B. Flux is going to try and catch them off guard, but unfortunately that FAMAS is just going to get completely overwhelmed here. Last one left alive will be Riddix. He will fall to Zoking. Only 1 player down here for China. 7-5 the score, and they're looking to try and put this one to bed.
Now with just 3 rounds left here in the first half, as you said, China essentially looking to shut it down as Indonesia, once again, they're going to be broken at this point, can't really go for anything, so they're going to be on what is essentially that full eco. P250s are going to be that most. Actually, no, we do see a couple 5.7s picked up there before the round starts, so 5.7s will be the biggest thing they bring, but no armor at all, so not really going to be looking for anything too big, maybe just looking for 1 or 2 trade kills if they can surprise on the angles, but beyond that, of course, not going to be so good. Sis, though, actually, inside a boiler, does get himself into a good spot before the rush comes through mid, essentially. Now Riddix, however, has to respond. He does find 1, but Captain Mo is going to drop him, and now Sis, playing from that position we just mentioned before, he does pick up a kill, too, but he is going to get dropped here a few seconds later by Captain Mo. And as for the rest of the Indonesian roster, they are looking for this rotation now to come over from B, but that gets closed out pretty quickly as well. And they pick up the 2 kills, so I guess they can be happy getting away with that one, considering the investment they made. They weren't really expecting to grab anything, but overall, this late in the half and with this big of a lead for China now, they definitely need to look for a lot more than that in order to keep this map competitive.
Penultimate round of the half in, they will be able to buy up though. Still, we've really not seen, I don't think we've seen an AWP at all on this map actually, which is quite surprising. I'd quite like to see the CT side pick one up if they have the economy to do so at some point, but China have just been reigning control of their economy for the most part, so been a bit of a difficult one for them to be able to pick up. Now they're taking a slightly more of an aggressive stance here, I'd actually say. They've been doing this a few times, but we've got one player pushed through, which is going to be Frost Misty, and he's going to miss out on that one. So that's the first frag going in favour of the T's of China, and now they've got full control of apps by the looks of things. And you can see that Indonesia are going to have to split up. They're going for that 2-for-2 setup, although we've now got the quick rotation coming in from Rosu because it's pretty obvious what's about to happen. An A push coming in, entry frag for Captain Mo, not a surprise. He's really been doing a great job. They've got full control of quad as well. Standard execute here from China. They're winning their entry frags, and this should be 9-5 unless Riddix and Flux can pull off the almost impossible.
Now they're moving in here. Attacker will find another kill on the Flex, and Riddix again, that last one alive, as you said, should be a fairly easy cleanup for China. They're just looking for that last one. Interestingly enough, or at least thought they were going to bypass him there, but Fans actually runs headfirst into him, and then Zoking will correct it, takes him down. And now China again, 9-5. Definitely not the half that Indonesia were looking for here. They're going to get one last go at it here on the 15th round. That's pretty much everybody's going to have to go for Famas as their money situation. Not the brightest, not the best, as they were still sitting down a little bit there after getting completely destabilized from those round trades we had sort of in the middle of the half. But this one, they're all going to be on Famas. Not the rifles at least to contest it, but still very strong for China considering the grenade stacks they have in addition to their rifles as usual.
I just love how many AKs they dropped in T-Spawn and just how much money China still have left over after doing so. It's crazy. Indonesia once again looking to change up the pace. They're getting aggressive, trying to catch China off guard. It's worked for them once or twice. I don't think it's going to work again here. The Farmasses are just getting completely outshot with those all-powerful AK-47s, and once again, now left into a 4 versus 3, they're going to smoke off Arch. They pushed through quad in the last round, and it really worked successfully for them. They're getting the trade frags in their favour. Rosu could do a lot of damage here. He's being a sneaky little beaver, pushing through the quad area. He'll pick up 1, he'll pick up 2, and now suddenly that could have been the play of the round here. Fancy, the last one left alive. He's left on 36 points of health. He's going to be able to pick up 1, though. Now 1 versus 1, and he's going to back away. I think this is definitely the best decision to go into apps here.
Hopefully, again, he can surprise this last player from Indonesia, Flex. The problem is if he crouch... Nope, he's seen that rifle now, so he can react to it. A little bit late, but the big problem for Flex is he's got the full 10-second timer, so now in comes Fancy, and oh, Fancy with the weapon swap! Messes it up, but I don't think Flex has enough time, actually. Pretty sure the bomb's gonna blow up. No, there's no way. Still about 2 seconds off there, so China are gonna pick it up there. Flex kind of spooking... Or apologies, who was the last player alive there for China? Was Fancy, I think, kind of...
Fancy, yes. Yeah.
Fancy kind of scaring Flex there towards the end and getting him off the defuse. That was really all he needed to do, and I think that's actually why he sort of ran at him with the knife, because he knew he was going to win it either way if he just got him off it. So there you have it there. China now taking that half on the T side, too, in a pretty big way. 10-5 in their favor, and now on the more favored side. Not going to be looking too good for Indonesia here unless they can pull out some big things on the T side.
Yeah, certainly a very tricky spot for them indeed. And we can see 2 players going for the Tech 9s again. I really would have liked them to have been dropped to their teammates, the players with armor there, just because I feel that it's quite a powerful strategy. But just look how aggressive they're going. Fancy pushing straight down Banana. He is not wanting this game to carry on much longer, as Captain Mo's in fragging form once again. He takes down Flux, and that's 2 kills. Make that 3 kills. Advantage China. Indonesia are getting shut down, and they are almost certainly going to lose this pistol round. Riddix and Sis with a lot of damage to do. They're going to try and maybe salvage the Tech 9, but actually going to push forward and not even worry about them whatsoever. It's 4 flags in a row here. Riddix will respond, but that should just be the passing kill of the round. He's actually going to pick up 2 there, but still not much done. Indonesia with another crucial pistol round that they should have won. They weren't able to do so, and that's going to be 11-5.
Now, we'll see just when Indonesia are able to piece together, and we're actually looking like we're seeing that sort of same very passive strategy when it comes to the economy. They're not going for the force-ups at all here, at least not in this second round. I don't believe they got a plan now. They didn't get a plan in that first round, so they're probably hoping to pick up a plant here on the second, so they can maybe go for the force fire on the third, but we'll see if they can do that, as that first round was a little bit rough, and Captain Mo immediately starts things off there by picking up a kill on a Frost Misty. Even going to get aggressive here too, and if he looks to his left, he's going to find Sis as well. A little bit messy with the spray, but he picks it up. However, over on the B side there, they actually open up the wayside, and Riddix and Flex are going to find 2 kills there. They take out both DD as well as Zoking, and they are going to get that plant down, so the third round buyout. There's going to be a possibility now for this Indonesian roster, regardless of what happens here.
Flux, the last one left alive, and well, Fancy will clean things in good fashion. Good double there for Captain Mo as well. That's going to be 12-5. A bit unlucky for Indonesia. They looked like they stood a chance, and they were able to get the bomb down and take 2 players. So, you know, you would say in a normal situation, that's kind of what they would be hoping for out of a kind of an eco round like that. But then again, the score is 12-5. They've not got too much to work with, and China are 4 rounds away from not only closing out the map, but closing out the match as well. They've certainly looked dominant so far, which is a shame. You know, again, nothing against them, but we wanted a close series between these two, and so far Indonesia just haven't shown up. But credit to China, they've really been pretty outstanding.
And now we'll see exactly where Indonesia pushes this forward. They are going to go for that buyout now here in the 3rd round, but China know exactly where this economy was going, so they've also upgraded anything they can to the rifles at this point. And Zoking, they're almost getting caught out as we see the shot coming in through a window. They spotted him, but they're not able to execute upon that, and that's going to act as the early warning for China, however, because they took that shot. They're going to know this push is coming, at least in some regards, through alt mid, and they'll immediately smoke pretty much every angle they can find up to try and hold them off and waste as much time as humanly possible.
No frags as of yet, though, so still taking things quietly. China not getting too aggressive with their peaks, and I certainly agree with that situation. Again, a standard setup from them. 2 on B, 3 on A. Nothing really to call out there that is out of the ordinary. Liking the position from Zoking. Again, he's going to back off onto the site. Good decision once again, just waiting for the T's to push, giving them some leeway so they can push their way through potentially here, but also holding a nice angle. So let's see if Indonesia can respond, find out that position. They've got 1 lurker in Riddix there, but that's a lovely entry frag onto Captain Mo. That's a big kill to start things off with for Indonesia. Let's see if they can continue it. That's a bad trade there for Zoking. He's not even going to be able to do any damage whatsoever as he falls, and this is looking much better here for Indonesia. Really nice entry frags on that A-bomb site. It was a telegraphed play. China knew probably what was coming, but still, when Indonesia are going to land shots like that, there's not much China can do.
And we'll see the attempt here from China to possibly hold back, but yeah, it doesn't really look like they're going to attempt for the retake there on the 2-on-4. They don't really have a whole lot of utility to attempt it with either, so they're not going to go for it. They're just sitting back in both library and the archway, looking for any exits they can find. And if not, of course, they should still be able to get away with those guns pretty cleanly. And Indonesia not really going to take the bait there, so they're just going to go right back out towards both alt mid as well as main mid, and choose to move away with their guns and let the Chinese as well get away with those 2 M4s, which is actually a pretty big takeaway for the Chinese roster players, considering no one else is really going to be able to upgrade, so a little bit dangerous potentially heading into this next round, but Indonesia just taking the safe route in that one.
3M4 is the name of the game for China, and they've got 2 players on pistols, but to be quite honest, with their performance so far, it wouldn't surprise me if they were able to take this one. That being said, Indonesia, as soon as they've got rifles in their hand now on this T side, they look pretty darn good there. So let's see, and hopefully they can continue that form. Taking things slowly once again here, potentially expecting an eco from China, and some crazy pushes coming in, and not finding too much yet though. And just look at the setup here for the Chinese. They've got just crazy setup. They've got 3 players who went over towards Banana. They've only got 2 players over towards A, and they were stacking over towards the arch side at the start of things. So changing up the game with China, but they've not found anything yet because Indonesia are taking it so slow.
Now we'll see where the push comes from now, as Indonesia moving through middle right now, and they're going to go in like a storm here. Watch out for that flank, of course, and it is going to be coming in. That's possibly in a few seconds here, as soon as China is able to confirm that the push will come in this direction. But Indonesia a little bit hesitant now to move forward with this one. Kind of stuck over here at the mid-threshold, and they will pull it back for now. Now it's going to be time for these players here on Banana to shine, and DD in a great position here to maybe get some kills, however, very overexposed too, so as you can see, kind of just going back and forth and was looking for the info. He was able to spot those players incoming, so he's fallen back, and again, no calls yet to reinforce this, so at the moment he's alone. He's going to have attacker coming in to support him in a minute, so he will have that, but also 30 seconds left, and this smoke now just coming out, that's not what Indonesia needs, and they're going to be forced to play through this now.
Yeah, but they do have the grenade advantage here by the looks of things, and they're just going to flash their way through. In comes the push from Indonesia as they look to try and catch China off guard. He's going to peek out there just at the wrong time, and that's not what they wanted. Attacker needs to back off, and that is what he's going to do. There's only 9 seconds left on the clock, so maybe he can try and use this to his advantage. The bomb's going to go down, potentially here, or is it? Because, well, there we go, it has been planted, but still, Winter 3 versus 2. Sis looking to try and change things up, and that's exactly what he will do, but he's the last one left alive. Captain Mo is feeling confident. He pushes through the smoke, and who even does that? Like, what?
That was the
what?
That's what we call the frag vid kill right there, where It's like, I know I've got this round. Let me just flaunt a little bit there.
Like, why would you even do? I'm not even going to try and analyze that one. That was crazy.
That was 100% greed, and he got lucky too, considering that whoever he was facing off against for Indonesia completely flopped on the spray, because it took him like 3 to 4 shots to actually get the kill. So Captain Mo there's got a lucky star watching over him, but he will pick it up, and again that is going to allow China to close out the round. Once again, they now take the initiative here in the second half, 13-6, as Indonesia struggling to find a way back into this, but some aggression over here on Banana from Attacker, along with DD, is going to once again hand over the opening frag of the round to the Chinese roster.
4 versus 4. Sis once again looks to get revenge on that frag from earlier on, as he's picked up his second kill of the round. Going to push through aggressively. He's actually switched over to the A4 here, seeing what damage he can do with that one. And he's going to respond though. He will get taken down, but this is still back and forth trades, and Indonesia haven't really put their running boots on, to be quite honest. So they've allowed China to get this really quick rotate. We've got one player on each team really low here, Flux and Attacker. They're going to be able to plant the bomb. DD's going to take down Roster though. It's low HP for Flux. He gets one. He's going to spray around the corner though. And this is tense. This is a crucial round for Indonesia. They need to do this one. He can see the barrel of DD. And he will be able to pick up the kill. Nice little clutch there for Flux. That's the double for him, I do believe, as well. And that's 7-13. The economy for China is pretty rubbish. So they are going to have to eco this one. But in all honesty, with a scoreline of 13-7 and China only 3 rounds away from taking this one, you've got to wonder whether this could just be delaying the inevitable. Hopefully it's not, because I really want to see Indonesia pull off this comeback.
Yeah, it's going to be rough, to say the least, but I mean, it's not completely impossible now. They're sitting about 6 rounds behind the Chinese scoreline at this point. I mean, they've broken the eco from China, so we're looking at this point at least the singular save. They're only on a single round losing bonus, so maybe a double too, depending on how China want to play that next round, because they could go for the force up here to try and surprise them, but we could be looking at a double save, and then, you know, that puts it back up to 9 points, assuming nothing goes wrong, and they're only 4 points away from there, and they've been doing pretty well here on the gun round, so there isn't really anything to say about them, you know, like the fact that as soon as we see the Chinese players get guns in their hands, that immediately Indonesia's just going to falter to that, kind of like the case was back over on Cash. So they may still have a chance yet to swing this comeback, as so far it's been very, very even on both sides too, as we've seen a much improved Indonesian T side here back on Inferno now. But China does pick up 2 more kills before the end of it to make a total of 3 there, so they do a nice amount of damage there, and are going to force the rebuys on 3 of those players, keep the money low for Indonesia. So definitely still a pretty good story here as far as China managing to keep the money low on the T side is concerned. But they will be going for that double save just to ensure they can go for the maximum buys on that next round, and this shall probably give Indonesia the 9th point as well.
This is interesting because, I mean, like, China is still looking very good. They're looking the better side out of the 2, but considering the fact that this is China's map choice, they're looking slightly more shaky on this one than they were on Cash. Captain Mo with a nice one thing to start things off there as the T's push through the smoke. But again, they're going to get completely out-traded due to those powerful AK-47s. I'm pretty sure Sister saw one player come through the catwalk area over towards Arch, so he's going to be able to pick things up in quick fashion. Triple for Sister, 13-9 the score. They plant the bomb just after the timer, so if I'm not mistaken, I should really know this, but that doesn't reward the whole team, does it, if the round's already ended?
With the plant, you mean?
Yeah.
No, it's only I believe it only gives a 300 to the person who plants it.
That's what I thought. I was like, am I thinking right? I probably was like, oh gosh, I'm going to get this one wrong, but I thought that was the case, so yeah.
I don't even think they get the money anyway if they win too, just because they have a set amount that they get for winning. But I think you actually, I'm trying to remember if you get more for winning if you have the bomb planted and you still win by deathmatch. But anyway, we won't argue about that now. That's for someone's like image on r/CS:GO or whatever. But now we see Indonesia again, still able to pick up those 2 rounds as we expected, but China back with the guns in their hands. We'll see what they can do again to push this off, because if they are able to pick this one up, then they're probably going to get very, very close to once again forcing Indonesia down to essentially nothing in terms of buys. As we remember this from just a few rounds ago, we were still seeing some pretty heavy losses, taking out 3 players 2 rounds ago, and I think 2 players in that previous round. So they did a good job of forcing the rebuys on those players and keeping that money situation low. So Indonesia not going to be so strong on the rebuy game, and considering they're now on the winning bonus. They drop this round, and they're going to lose all that bonus here. They're not going to have any bonus, I should rather say, when they start dropping rounds again. But here we go now. Frost Misty trying to find some cover here in the shed. Not going to work out too well. An attacker will find the opener from China, and also should reveal the intentions here that the push is going to be coming towards the A site.
Attacker's going to find his second frag of the round up in towards that graveyards area, and I'm really liking the setup here for the CTs, but it's going to get answered straight away, although Zokin on the bomb site is going to try and get answered. Flux here, he's spraying and praying he's going to be able to pick up the second round, well, the second kill even of the round, sorry, as he gets the hat trick there, and that was really unfortunate, but a nice answer from China there, to be honest, because Indonesia have pushed that quad side so many times, and they've been winning it so many times, so to see China change up their game, change up the positioning and everything was really, really nice indeed. We saw an AWP come out from Captain Mert, wasn't utilised at all, but it's interesting that we get to round number 23 of the match, and that's the first time we've seen AWP come out.
That is actually an interesting point. I didn't even think about that, because with missing, you don't really think about those things, but yeah, that's interesting. We didn't really see too much of an AWP at all so far in this map, but now it's being played in a big way here, and hopefully we can see that continued now as Indonesia, they know that they're sitting on that thin ice once again, so they have gone for the force up here. 3 AKs, a Tech 9 on Riddick, and as for Flex, he's chosen to save and just stick with his Glock, but he is going to be able to go for a smoke and 2 flashbangs because he has made that choice. They'll line themselves up for the push once again. Probably going to be a little bit more dynamic this time, as they're going to work 3 to 4 players in through middle itself. That smoke's a little bit off, so they do have an angle to push through. They can probably push through that without too much of a risk, and then Sis, too, looking to find his way into the boiler.
Just about 55 seconds left on the clock, and Indonesia really aren't pushing B too much. They basically completely eliminated that bomb site, and China are getting a good read on that by the looks of things, with only one player in DD over towards that smaller B bomb site. We've got Fancy on the quick rotate there over towards that catwalk area, holding down Arch. So this could potentially be a massacre if Indonesia aren't careful. They're not going to smoke off that Arch area, which I really like to see them do. Now they're eventually going to do it, but will it be too late here? Captain Mo with the first kill of the round will be traded back though. Zoking in Pit's going to do one, but it's still back and forth trades here. This is just crazy. It's all over the place. Eventually Indonesia get the man advantage, and it is left up to DD, but what a chaotic round.
And DD here, now potentially closing it out for China if he can clutch this, but a smoke, he's just going to blindly push through, not even using that flash it either, tries to play it like a ninja, but Sis is going to see him there, had his eyes peeled right onto that, so he's going to fall back, and I'm actually a bit surprised he managed to get away, but he does fall back behind the smoke again, and at this point now, probably just going to be looking to save that M4.
Yeah, I certainly think that's the best decision, to be quite honest. Looking at their money, again, it's in pretty dire situations. So Indonesia are looking good. They're going to get themselves onto double figures here. And they're showing, that Cash wasn't a fluke, but it was just a simply bad map from them. And this is what I really like to see in these kind of series. When you see a team get completely decimated on a map, that they can come back on the second map and really do a good job of fighting into it. Still, I believe that China are the better team in this situation, but I don't want to count Indonesia out yet. They're only 4 rounds away. They've got to take things 1 round at a time. They are certainly having a better T side than their CT side, if I'm not mistaken. So let's see what they can do. It's going to be another eco here for China, so they should be 14 to 11.
And we'll see exactly what China can do again to keep that money situation low, but a perfect shot there from Flex sitting out there from the T-side apartments, just outside a kitchen on the T porch, finds a shot through the window, and I think he actually drops him outside in the hall too. I could be wrong on that one, but a very, very long-range shot and a great one there too. Now Sis is going to push forward, picks up a second one. Apologies, picks up a second one for the team, and Frost Misty going to find a third now, as Indonesia so far just running over the Chinese players. DD also taking some heavy damage at this point too, has been dropped down to 9 HP, so don't expect him to do too much, and to be honest, he's probably just going to sit around and play on the B site to look to save, and they will leave Fancy to do any exit work.
He's got to play just round the corner here, so if he can maybe pick up a quick cheeky headshot into Riddick's, that'll help out and maybe try and salvage the AK. I don't think it's really going to come to too much fruition there by the looks of things. You can just see how close they are to each other, and he's going to push around the corner. He will find one, but, well, nice reaction there from Riddick. He'll be able to take out that player. Left alive on 3 HP, so a bit unlucky for Fancy, but he will be able to exit the bomb site as well. I'm not too sure if Riddick is actually going to be able to survive this. He should be far enough away now, so there we go. Yeah, he'll be able to do that clean and easy. 11 to 14 the score, as we predicted here. Let's see what the buy-up's going to be like for China. Have they got enough? Yes, they do. It's still not going to be the best situation. They're not going to have as much as they would have hoped to work for. But they really need to, once again, just look at that control over towards quad. Because Indonesia, like, if it's working for them and if it's not broken, don't fix it. And that's their game so far. They've been really good over towards quad on this T side.
We'll see again with that buy coming out from China. They've gotten very close, but Indonesia, very impressive comeback, so not anything to discount off of them and the plays that they've been making here. And this will be another tipping point here. As you mentioned, China was very, very close, and this should have been a fairly simplistic closeout for them, but Indonesia have been fighting hard, but they've had to get through so many hurdles in this round. This is going to be another one every time we see the bias from China. That's just another chance now where China can just end the game, essentially, right there with that round win, but they've been unable to do it for quite a few rounds in a row now, although we've seen them slip through with one and put it up to 14 points. They've not been able to do any more than that after we've seen that initial little awkward trade that we had, of course, after that third round. And again, this puts it up to 11-14. Indonesia very, very close to swinging it back, but China as well, looking to shut it down before they can do it and avoid that map number 3 completely. But Indonesia lining up, they're going to push through mid. Rosal finds the first shot. He's going to be able to take out Zoking. Not checking for that player hiding over by Cubby just yet, but he actually evacuates completely. That'll be, apologies, that'll be an attacker along with Captain Mo right now as he's relocated to the pit. And then on the site itself, you do have that relocated player from Cubby. That'll be attacker now hiding in sight. And all this time, Indonesia is being given so much ground. The Chinese players need to come out huge with the aim, but now Frostbisty finding another kill on an attacker. Captain Mo gets caught out in the open. Assist comes in from the balcony to take him down. And China, unfortunately, don't really seem like they can defend this. A 4-on-2 now. DD is going to jump out, but that is going to look a little bit embarrassing from Riddick's point of view, as he's going to easily dispatch of him. And now puts it all into Fancy. Now he can't do anything. He's running away, and again, looking to save the M4.
DD should have just saved the M4 there. Why he decided to push through that smoke, I don't know whether it was just pure frustration or something like that, but it really wasn't a good idea whatsoever. 4 versus 2, smokes down, all the T's in after plant positions. Very silly indeed, sir, for pushing that one, and he'll be punished for it. That's a rifle down, and that could potentially be used to great effect in the next round. Their money is once again absolutely destroyed, so this could potentially get into...
Considering that they're going to move these players right over...
They've got full control of CT area at the second, and China are hoping that clock is going to tick down soon.
They still think it's on A, I believe. They got to make this call sooner. Zoking's going to spot it, but now they've got to rotate, and they're far too out of position on the A site. But Captain Mo, holy crap, 1 and 2 kills with the Deagle there. Goes full mad mode and pays off. He finds 2 frags. Now everything on to Flex. He still has to clear out a site. Great nade, though, to take out Zoking. But now with 15 seconds, he's going to get the plant, and no plant either. So there you go, China finally getting that 15th point and setting us up to 12-15. The money for Indonesia, it is going to allow them to reblind. For anybody that's too low, they can easily get a drop gun down. But this is it now, China at this 15th point, and they're going to be able to rebuy again, so they can close it out here if they're able to move and finally take this round to end it.
I'm still contemplating what the heck I just saw there with that double Deagle kill from Captain Mo. Again, yeah. Moving on, round number 28 we go, and this is do or die now for Indonesia. China on the force bite miraculously managed to pick out the round. That could have potentially broken Indonesia here. They're looking to go once again potentially for that A push. They do get good control of apps by the looks of things, but they've backed off once again, and that bomb is still over towards T-spawn. We've got an AWP actually on both sides now, so we've not seen that until this round, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken. And Rosso picking up the big green gun, as well as you expect, Captain Mo, who is holding from Library, looking over towards Arch. They're setting up for an A-take once again here in Indonesia. It's worked a lot for them here. They've had the favoured frags. Let's see if they can do it again, or whether China will be able to take this.
And then while it's going to come out, it does prevent any sort of intervention to coming in there on the RAP side, so they are going to get control of Porch essentially for free here. And now the resistance will be coming out here over from Attacker, who is by the pit, but way too overexposed, so Rosal is going to be able to take him out. Now with the T-sided op, first time so far we've seen that T-sided op used, but now China so far shutting things down, putting it all onto Rosal. He does find one shot in a fancy. He's got to close out on Zoking, though, but he can't pick it up, and there you have it. Zoking is going to pick up the final kill of the match with a USP of all guns, and that's going to end it, guys. Indonesia fought hard, they fought valiantly, but not enough to swing it back and take the map away. So 16-12 is going to end it, and with that as well, China, they are going to come out on top of this set.
Yeah, really well played by them, and they held strong. Good resilience, considering the great comeback that was coming in from Indonesia there. I thought there was a chance when it was that 14-12 scoreline and China on that like kind of mixed force buy that we were going to see things potentially go to overtime, and I was like, oh gosh, wow, China are looking a bit shaky. But after that, they managed to storm on, winning that fourth round and then taking the final round there, as you just saw. So good work indeed from them. Shame from Indonesia, but certainly good that we didn't see another shutout map, because it looked like it was going to go that way, to be quite honest, in the early stages of that second half. So yeah, 16-4, 16-12 is the score. Obviously no need to see overpass, which is a shame, as I would have liked to have seen them head up on that match. But that's it, yeah, congrats to China.
And that is going to close out the stream here today, guys. A little bit of a short one for you, but thank you all very much for tuning in. We should have more matches coming up for you over the rest of the week, and possibly this weekend as well. We'll have to figure out the details on that one. But of course, we still have lots more play, and the EU group stages should be starting pretty soon as well, guys, to figure out who is going to be making it to that grand finals in Belgrade coming up in just over a month, I do believe, at this point. That's going to feature teams from all over the world, 16 teams in total, traveling out with over $100,000 in prize pool money, and a lot more than that in travel support coming those teams' way. It's all accommodations will be taken care of by eFrag and the respective sponsors. So once again, we'll give the shout out to them. You can see them right below in the overlay now. We'll play the ads one more time. Stick around for it, guys. We do appreciate their support today. And beyond that, we hope you all have enjoyed the show. If you'd like to follow the casters on Twitter, I've been Blue. You can follow me over at BLUCSGO. And Chewy, I believe you are at NIP Chewy.